good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. Good morning, guys. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's Monday. It's Monday.
Good morning. I'm well as well. Watch my team win. Watch our team win last night. So, you know, it's a good morning.
Well, we love that. We love that. Michelle, we are missing you this morning. I know you're having some technical difficulties, but we are here. We are thinking of you. So hopefully you're able to get on soon. All right. So, well, let's kick to the intro. Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Moloui. I am super excited to be here at Your Business in Digital. We get to talk about those digital marketing strategies that really help you get to that place of money in the bank. I'm super excited to be here with an amazing team of experts. We have Andrea Ragu, who is the CFO in the building. We have Michael Wilshire, whose focus is on operations and really trying to get things moving. Usually Michelle is here with us and she talks sales and pricing. And of course, I talk about marketing. What we do here at Your Business in Digital is we connect all the dots of a true small business to really make sure that we are effective in our digital marketing strategies. So let me tell you how you can connect with us. Connect with us anywhere. We are everywhere. We are on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're everywhere podcasts are found. So check us out in any space. But what I want you to do is I want you to tell a business executive about this show. I want you to tell a CEO about this show. I want you to tell a small business owner about this show. I want you to tell people about this show because, again, what we're doing here is connecting all those dots, right? A true small business coming together with sales, finance, operations, and marketing to talk about those digital marketing strategies and tactics to get you to that place of money in the bank. I always like to tell people that we are CFO approved on this podcast here. So it's really great strategies that you can utilize. So tell people about this show, share the information. All right. So it's time for us to share the information. All right. I'm already hype. I've had a lot of coffee. All right. So moving on along, quick recap of our last show. In our last show, we talked about effective lead generation for small businesses and executives. Okay. Lead generation is a hot topic because it's what most people are trying to do. Most salespeople are trying to do it. B2B, they're trying to do it. Lead generation is just really, really important in your strategy. But what you have to do is you must understand your target audience, right? That's so critical to the entire process. You don't want to talk to the wrong people. You don't even want to be in the wrong space, right? You want to find yourself in the right space, talking to the right people. This is what will then really move to converting the right people. So you want to look at that customer profile, who are they? What are they doing? And then you want to use the right platforms. Sometimes we're so caught up in Instagram, we forget about the other platforms where we can truly get those leads. You want to look at things like the right targeting. You want to look at Google Ads where people are putting in key search terms. You want to look at the networking events that you're attending as well. And you want to look at tools like LinkedIn. You want to make sure you're in the right space. You're in the same space that your target audience is in, right? That's going to be critical. So that last show was awesome. Also, that correct customer profile. Check me out for getting some of the recap. The correct customer profile, right? So going back to your target audience, getting that right customer profile, tightening it up, it gets you to that person who costs you the least amount to do business with. And that is where you get to, get to the right client, save money, and save yourself some time. So that was the last show. If you didn't catch it, go back, check the show out. It was a really good show. And we are moving on along. Yay! So I'm excited about this hot topic. So our hot topic is today done by Miss Andrea Ragu. So super excited. What are we talking about today, Andrea?
All right. Today we are talking about going viral, right? It's something that we hear about all the time, and it's something that we've seen it a million times. Like literally, viral videos get millions of views. Viral. When things go viral, it's because they touch a nerve with society, or maybe they're just flat out scandalous, right? Things go viral because of what's happening at the time, or it just that it taps into the culture of society. So, for example, in the United States, recently there was a presidential debate. So your things would have been going viral there. Sometimes celebrities go and do crazy things. Recently, here in my little Trinidad and Tobago, we had our own viral episode when someone leaked a video of a wife confronting her husband about an affair. And it was scandalous when I tell you, oh, yes, clutch your pearls. It was so scandalous. Now, of course, it was a private video that was probably meant to stay private, but eventually it got leaked, and the video was just basically detailing her confrontation of the man of their affair, right? Or as we say in Trinidad, you get horn, right? So for days on end after that, the key phrases from the video were the quips that we started to tell each other as this thing grew and grew, and it just became this scandalous affair, right? One of the phrases that came out of the video in particular was, "That's extravagant news." Right? The whole news was shocking, and the person said that's extravagant news. And the people's images from the video became memes that were shared. And immediately, people were using these phrases in their own social media posts, and content creators were busy putting on their own satire on the whole scenario, to the point where there was an entire play that got produced from the events of just watching the video, and they put their own satire to it, right? So this is what happens when things go viral. They touch a nerve with society, they're very scandalous, and people all of a sudden start connecting with what is in the video, and they start using the words from the video to mean certain things, right? So, what does it mean for a small business? Why should we care about? If you just go back one slide here, why do you care about what it means to be for a small business, right? So, as we see, posts go viral. They have a way of, because of what's happening at the time, and it's tapping into the culture of society. It has a way of connecting your audience. So, for that brief time when something is viral, everyone is speaking the same language. Their attention is immediately grabbed because you're now using images, words, and phrases that are already understood. So, in the case of what we had here recently, when people say that's extravagant news, we immediately knew what they were speaking about, and it was immediately catching our attention. And what I saw happening here was people now using that in their posts to say promoting sales. I saw business owners promoting extravagant sales, and all of a sudden the word just became associated with their particular sale, and it caught your attention. And that's the point I want to make. Their attention is immediately grabbed. I think you could go to the next slide here. Their attention is immediately grabbed because of the fact that you're using something that they already understand. So if you're a small business and you're jumping on a viral topic to grab your audience's attention, that connection might be just that much quicker and might actually shorten the sales cycle because the message gets understand a little bit faster. Because why? You're connecting to something that people already understand. So from the time you use the keyword or the phrase that was cause that went viral, you immediately grab people's attention because they want to see what you're coming with, because of the fact that the topic went viral. So if you're jumping on a viral topic, it might just grab your audience's attention that much quicker, and it might shorten the sales cycle because you're already speaking the same language that they understand. The next thing you want to understand as a small business is that in order for that to happen, your marketing strategy would now need to have some flexibility to be able to jump on when the viral topic happens. So what that means is, I know, here on this show, we always talk about, having proper marketing strategy in place, and we talk about the things that you need to do, the different elements that you need to have. But that's the thing about when things are going viral, you can't plan for something to go viral. You may have in your calendar that you plan to promote something that is supposed to happen. So you may look at a calendar, and based on holidays and based on events, you may know that you want to curate content to probably suit that. But that's the thing. The thing about viral is that you don't know when something is going to go viral. So your marketing strategy needs to be just a little bit flexible, so for you to be able to jump on the viral topic when it happens, right? Because we don't know when it's going to happen. But at the same time, though, as much as you need to be flexible, you also need to be cautious, because I want you to understand that just as fast as this thing rises in popularity and as it goes viral, just as fast as it rises, it becomes irrelevant. And then you may have wasted your resources because you may have invested money in particular ads to run for a particular period of time, and maybe by the time the ad is still running, the topic no longer is relevant. So as much as you want to be flexible to adapt, also be just as flexible to maybe jump off, know when it's time to jump off, and don't spend too much money behind it, because viral is just that, it just happens and it goes away, right? So you want to be able to hop on the right time and know when to hop off. So that's my hot topic today.
What a viral moment, man. Terrence was everywhere. It
It
was
was
crazy. So
everywhere.
if you've not checked it out, just Google Terrence Trinidad and Tobago and you will get the full story. But I think such great lessons, right? People are always looking for the viral moment, but I love the idea of taking that and just seeing how businesses adapted what they did. I mean, I saw some of the sales, I saw some of the promotion. They were really, really nimble, and it was relevant, funny. I'm in this digital marketing group, and they were just kind of sharing some of the ads in there, and it was just hilarious. I was just like, this is really good stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it added a little culture to it. I mean, and of course, we are not here, no judgments, right, wrong. We're not saying it's right, it's wrong. We just see the trend, how it happened, and then just what came out of it and how businesses adapted. So I love this.
and that's the point. That's a really good point about it. It has nothing to do with the morality behind it, or what. That's a whole different scenario. But just the fact that this thing captures our attention and held our attention for for however long it did, the couple of days into the weeks, right? It was just something that everybody just identified with, so just be mindful about that. That's why you really can't plan it, right? You really can't plan when something goes viral, but you just have to be ready to be able to figure out if you want to, attach yourself to it.
Listen, I love this post because I of course have had a business that has gone viral, literally around the world, right? And it's all the things that you describe. It's like a forest fire. It's hard to control. It's hard to manage the conversation, right? So from a business perspective, when we did go viral, it was important for us to get the message out that even though this incident happened, we were being 100% safe. These things happen. The reaction was all planned. Nothing went wrong, and that really saved our business, right? But viral moments are that huge visibility that people, they think they want, but most times it's hard to control. It's hard to control. You are appearing in a lot of spaces that you don't need to be, and you're responding to a lot of people that you don't need to be responding to. So, but a good opportunity as you've placed it, this particular viral moment, to incorporate it into your marketing for a short period of time. Just as you said, you've got to just ride the train while it's running, and then make sure you get off at your stop, right? So great topic. Thanks for that, Andrea.
All right. So moving on along, we are moving on to our go beyond the light segment. All right. Sounds so scary now. I love that. All right. So our go beyond the light segment is where we really get to hone in on strategies, where we talk to you about, how things should work. We answer some of your questions around digital marketing. And today we are talking about, oh, did you see Michelle's picture there? Michelle, we missed you. We are talking about optimizing lead nurturing strategies for B2B success. So we talked about lead generation, and we always have to talk about lead nurturing because not enough time is spent there, right? And so sometimes we're thinking, I met you, you're buying from me. Not how it works. I met you, and there's a lot of steps in between there to get to that place for someone to buy from you. So I think today's going to be a great conversation. Super excited about it. So let's jump in. All right, so this is a great question. How can I align my content strategy with sales to create a more effective B2B lead nurturing sequence that addresses both marketing and sales goals? So, I really wish Michelle was here today because this is what we do really well is that we collaborate. We talk sales and marketing together because as marketing, what we're trying to do is make sure that we're getting sales leads that sort of qualified for sales, right? So we want to have these marketing qualified leads that sales is on board with. So we want to collaborate and make sure that we have the same goals, that we understand the things that they're looking for so we can adapt. We also want to understand the buying persona, right? We want to learn more about that target audience, learning what are their behaviors offline so we can take that information and look to incorporate that online. We want to understand the type of content, the frequently asked questions, the things that they're asking the salesperson, because the customer offline is very similar to the customer online. Their behavior, it's just an online process. So it could be just a little bit longer, right? Then we want to look at really mapping the content to the customer journey and to the sales funnel as well, right? We want to really look to make sure that we're providing the right bits of content to nurture them along the way. So for instance, as they come through the door, are we giving them a checklist of information that might help them, pull together some type of life hack? Are we giving them information? Are we answering their questions? Are we anticipating for them? And so this collaboration between sales and marketing really helps you to get to the place of this is the right content that I should be dripping along the way as they move from the top of my funnel awareness to getting to know me, to connecting, to buying with me. So I have to create a customer journey that is really relevant to the customer. And I always like to say, if someone has researched you and they're going down your funnel late at night, you have to make sure that they feel good about it, right? Because they're on their phones, they're all on their own. And are they getting the answers to the questions? So by the morning, you will probably have, maybe they signed up for your email, maybe they reached out or completed your form. You want to make sure that you have those journeys connecting. And you want to look at consistent improvement, right? Gathering feedback, looking to see if these leads come in, have you sales talk to them? What happens? Is this the right person? Get that information to understand how you can further tweak. But it really comes down to the collaboration between sales and marketing.
Can we get some applause, please? That's a show opener if I ever saw one. But listen, I gotta jump in on this one as well. I think you hit all the points. That collaboration, of course, your sales team is talking to leads. They're talking to leads that become prospects, that become customers. So they have a lot of information that can guide that content process. What content are you creating? And the point I wanted to really dig into was the content mapping. Are you getting caught in creating content only for the top of the funnel, right? You've got to create content that is, fits every stage of that funnel. So a lot of the time we are putting out information, we are just telling you, and we're hoping you just click, buy, book a consultation. That's it. But you've got to make those clear asks in that journey for a direct movement that indicates they're going toward a sale, or what do they need to make that decision to move to the next stage, right? So we tend to get caught up in that top level content, that social media content, that opening content, and keep sending it, hoping to get a result that turns that lead into a client, right? But we've got to look at it from that sales perspective, as I say, what content matches each stage of the buyer's journey. So great way to start this conversation tomorrow. All here for it.
All right. So, what role, question number 2, what role does educational content like white papers and case studies play in building trust with potential B2B customers during the consideration phase? This is a good question, right? This is a great question because you want to prove yourself out, right? You want to prove the process out. You want to show them this is how we do it. I don't know, there's a song there. I didn't even have the rhythm. But it's the opportunity to show what you've done. It's the opportunity to show the results. And that the results are so important. And if you can walk them through the process, it kind of gives them a little bit of what to expect. Andrew, I'm going to kick it over to you to add to this because I'm sure you got something in there.
Yeah, I absolutely love this point because it's really relevant to like my profession, right? The type of service I am trying to sell. The number one thing that people want to know is the credibility factor. How credible are you? How knowledgeable are you in the space? Because it's a specialized space that you're operating in. It's not just a product of, "Oh, I'm selling candles," right? But you find more than likely in the professional spaces is where people try to put out that educational content to educate people about what we do because it's not something widely known. If you're selling a product that everybody knows, let's go back to the candle. If you're selling a candle, everybody knows how a candle is supposed to work, right? Whether it's scented or unscented, you know, okay, if it's a scented candle and I light it, it's supposed to, smell up the room. But when you're offering these specialized services, you really need to pay attention to this part of educational content. But I love it because it's a great way to offer value to people. You want to be able to offer value to your potential customers by being able to show, well, this is what I do and this is how it solves the problem that you're having, right? Because again, I don't know why I'm using candle, but I guess it popped in my head. A candle provides light, so you know if it's dark, it will provide light. If it's scented, it provides a scent. So if you know you have a space that not smelling too nice, you probably drop a scented candle in there. But you don't know what role a professional service might play in your space yet. So you need the educational content is needed now for that person to understand, oh, this is how that specialized service could help me, right? Because sometimes the connection is not easily known. So you have to take the time to educate people to say, well, this is how what I offer is can help you and solve your problem. And then another part how it plays is it's building of trust. Because the more you are sharing, you're building that level of trust and transparency because you're saying, hey, this is how I do what I do. There's a level of, oh, I get you, I understand. I mean, I'm getting to talk, well, not talk, but I'm getting to hear from you outside of being in maybe outside of a phone call or a consultation. You're openly sharing how you do things. It brings a level of, oh, I think I can trust this person because this person is sharing a lot of information. So I really like this point of what role educational content plays. The white papers and case studies are, of course, as you get high up the line, but don't discount it. It really can help explain a lot of things on the sales journey so that people understand this is how what you have to sell solves my problem. That's one of the main rules of the educational content.
Yeah, no, 100%. We love that. That's good. Oh, that's a good answer right there. We've been talking more about, from a timing standpoint, sometimes it's doing the case study takes a little bit of time. Bye, time. He's like low key bye. So, but it's we've been talking about how we have to really lean into those case studies a little bit more. The last one we pulled together is super detailed, but we've been working on so many other things, and now we want to kind of showcase the Caribbean Sun Feast, for instance. I mean, last week was it's like the whole 3-month process of doing this event has turned into a case study, because we've gone through the highs, the lows of the campaign to the point of selling out the last event, right? So it's kind of like we've now moved to a completely different place. But how did we get there? Where did we start? And what's the customer journey? Like, those are all the things that we need to pull together to say, hey, here's how we will actually run a campaign for entering a new market and looking at new customer acquisition. The other thing we understand is who we were targeting and who's showing up, right? So understanding who's the ideal client. So there's so many things we're learning in there. So starting to document that also adds that transparency. So really, really great answer. So yay, give Andrea a round of applause. All right. So our next question, and this is a Michael question, so I'm here for the answer. So what are some best practices for automating B2B lead nurturing and workflows using marketing automation tools? Because we understand that, especially if you have, bustling business, you're doing a few other things, you're not going to be able to respond to everyone one at a time. So this is a great way, go for it, Michael. Let us know.
Yeah, this is, you read it and it seemed like, wow, this is such a big answer. So I'm going to try to keep it as simple as we can. And you've probably heard these things before when it comes to automation. So segment your leads. And that means group your leads according to similar traits. Right? We'll fix that in a sec. Nope, it's not tomorrow with my voice. So the first thing is that you want to segment your leads, right? So it's grouping that big group of leads, everybody that comes in the door, into groups with similar attributes. And the best place I would say to start is group them by where they entered. Did they enter because they signed up for your newsletter? Did they enter your world because they signed up at a conference or at an exposition? Did they sign up to your Contact Me Now form? All places indicate very different levels of readiness and where they are at in their journey. And you also want to create those targeted workflows based on where they entered. And each workflow is going to address where they entered and have a specific intent. So, for example, what do I mean by that? I've signed up for your newsletter. And yes, I'm going to get your newsletter every month. But I can get a workflow when I've signed up for your newsletter, because remember what that means is at the moment I've signed up, I'm on your website, right? So an automated flow that tells me, hey, thanks for signing up. I realize you were browsing. Here's what you can expect. What kind of problem are you solving? We are good in solving these specific types of problems. And then you want to use their behavior to trigger more workflows. So initially with workflows, we were triggering them based on time. So I signed up today, send me an email 1 day later that says this. Send me an email 2 days later that says something else. But what's better? Make those actions based on the triggers of the behavior of that reader. So you make it that, listen, did I click this? Did I download this? And then that's going to initiate another flow. And that allows you to optimize your campaigns for better engagement as you watch the behaviors happen. If they happen, or are they not happening? Why are they not happening? What can I change in that content to push that trigger, to push that behavior to have something happen? And you've got to measure that performance of those workflows. So you've set this all in place. You've automated based on their entry point, what they're going to get, what content they're going to see, even down to who are they going to speak to? Are they going to get a call from somebody? And you want to measure and analyze these workflows to refine, to continually refine. And what you'll find happening is that as you look at these workflows, you are literally looking at behavior. The data is going to tell you what people are actually doing. Are they reading to the bottom of the content? Are they filling out a form? Are they giving feedback? And most importantly, which goes back to your segmentation effort, you've got to integrate with a CRM, because you want to be continually collecting more data on your leads that helps you identify those that become prospects and those that are worth following up all the way down to making them a customer. So, a very big point. I hope I've simplified it enough that automation is really a big part of lead nurturing, and that's how you can do it.
That's a really good answer. I don't even have much to add to that. I'm like, what?
It's just, it's what's amazing to me is that, it's a conversation we've had for many years, and as I said, it's considering where people come in the door. We've talked about it. Tamara, you've placed it in that zone of, it's your house, right? Did you come in the front door? Did you come in the side door? Did you come in the back door? So somebody who comes in the front door, you say, hi, how can I help you? Hey, really great to see you. Tend to have a more formal greeting, as opposed to somebody who came through the back door. It tends to be somebody somebody who is more you're familiar with. They've been in and out of your house. So it's more of a casual greeting, and you're already pointing them in the direction of the kitchen. Hey, have a seat, do what you want. So your business is no different. You've got to consider where they come in, and you base your segmentation and automations on where they come in and what are they looking to do based on that.
And adding more to the answer.
I love the analogy of, well, if you're coming the back door, the kitchen door, you're already family. So you just need to, we already know you. I don't need no formal invitation. Yep, there's the kitchen, I love that analogy because there are some people that are warm to you already, right? They probably already bought from you before, or they're very familiar, maybe one of your top followers that probably always subscribing for things and probably attending your workshops. So by that time, yeah, you should be able to be talking to them in a way that is less formal than the person who's coming to you for the first time. I love that comparison.
All right. Great answer. I love that. All right. So next question. What strategies can I use to re-engage cold B2B leads and bring them back into the nurturing cycle? Ask them if they want to hear from you, man. That is the strategy that you want to use. You want to go back. If they're cold, you haven't talked to them in a long time. I was talking to a client the other day who just found an email list from like 2010. That's rough, because you can go back and you can send them an email, but the first thing you want to be like is, hey, how are you? Do you even want to get these emails anymore? And start there, because it's hard to just start talking to them again to assume you've been missing in action, to assume that they want to hear from you. It's a little presumptuous. So you want to be in a space where you're saying, hey, do you really want to hear from me again? Are you still interested in this? Are you a potential customer? And give them the opportunity to opt back in or to opt out. And that's, I think, where you would start. And then from there, you can kind of move them back into one of those workflows that Michael talked about.
Absolutely. As I said, we worked with some clients. Just in the past week, we've had some clients that we've done some reconfirmation work. Are you interested still? And I think, the first strategy you need is that you have to be willing to let go. These are cold leads, right? And you've got to set your expectations as much as you're going to re-engage them. What do you really expect to see, right? Because you may only see a small percentage saying, oh yes, we're still interested, because remember, you're offering to solve a pain point. And now that you're looking at re-engaging them, that pain point may no longer exist for them. And you don't want to be spending time or money continuing to entertain, nurture, etc., for somebody who no longer has the pain point for which you solve.
And we get attached to our email addresses. Okay. We see it all the time. There is an emotional connection to people and their email addresses. And for the life of me, I can't wrap my brain around it. But it's this thing of, I have a million of them, but no one is opening your emails. You haven't talked to them in a long time. So you don't have a million of them anymore. You know what I mean? You may have a few of them. So it's okay to give up the emails, and it's okay to start a process that makes sense, and to ensure that you're getting your target audience in your CRM. That's what you want. So having these people, the big numbers make us feel good, but if they're not opening, then it really doesn't matter.
One thing I want to add in terms of the word cold, I think business owners need to actually define for themselves what is cold for them, because different, and we've spoken about this before, based on your cycle, somebody, my cycle may take months before somebody says yes, versus the cycle of somebody who is selling something much different to mine. You find that in spaces like ours, the professional spaces, people take a long time before they make their decision. So one thing I want people to think about is your definition of cold, right? Because my definition of cold and your definition of cold might be two different things. Because I may say somebody is cold because they might not be opening the emails, but maybe they're engaging with you on a social media platform, or maybe you're getting referrals from them. Maybe you're getting people coming in and saying, hey, I got your number from so and so. So I just want people to think about that, because I think cold could look different for different people, different types of businesses. So do what works for you, in the sense of when you identify what is cold, then you can apply the strategies that we're talking about. So be very careful to not just use one tool to figure out if they're cold, and then only to realize, well, they weren't really cold. Maybe they just weren't ready to buy, but they're still warm, because you're getting current from them in a way that makes them warm, but you're probably not getting that direct sale as yet. So just be very careful to define what is cold for your business.
I love that you're getting current from them. That's the most Trini thing I've heard in a long time. You're getting
Hey,
current.
well,
I'm gonna add that.
And that's why we
It's
say current go on.
we don't say the
Trini
power is out.
exactly. Trini speak for electricity versus not electricity, and also some nuance in there. All right, moving on along, Caribbean people. This is for everybody. Okay, so question number 5 is, how can financial forecasting be leveraged in the lead nurturing process to predict customer lifetime value and allocate resources effectively? Andrea?
All right. So let's talk some money things here, right? So how can financial forecasting be leveraged in this whole process? So the first thing is, it allows you to predict the customer lifetime value, meaning you want to analyze your historical data. So if you're doing forecasting, usually you forecast from a place of knowledge, and that place of knowledge is usually your historical performance. So you want to look back at the historical performance and build some models coming out of it to segment your customers, understand their behavior. So you want to be able to look back to say, well, I predict that these type of customers are going to buy from me 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So you want to be able to predict the customer lifetime value. The other thing is, you want to be able, how the modeling helps you, how the financial forecasting helps you, is that it allows you to allocate the resources effectively. Because after we've identified who can give you the high lifetime value, you could then say, well, I'm going to focus on these high potential leads. These are the people that my history or my trend has said is likely to buy from me. And I could then turn around now, take the money, or take my resources, I should say, and dedicate more resources to the people that are going to give me that high potential. I could then turn around now and optimize the campaigns that I have for these high performing or high potential leads. So it allows me to be able to allocate my resources to the people that are likely to give me the highest possible return. The financial forecasting also allows you to do some scenario planning. It allows you to do some risk assessment, because it allows you to explore different scenarios. It allows you to identify your risk, and it allows you to identify your contingency plans. So you want to be able to take all this information that we're talking about. We're talking about the historical information. We're talking about the potential behaviors of our leads, and make some scenarios out of it to say, well, if this scenario happens, how can I respond? What are the different challenges that may come out of this scenario? And then it allows you to plan for those scenarios. It allows you to put some money aside to deal with these potential issues, right? And it allows for continuous improvement. It allows you to monitor the financial forecasting allows you to monitor your performance. It allows you to adjust your strategy, because you're continuously looking for those areas for improvement. That's how the financial modeling helps you. Because and don't be turned off by the fancy word financial modeling. All it's really saying is, how does my finance strategy, how do I plan to spend my money? How does that plan help me? This is how the plan helps you. Just allows you to create a proper strategy to deal with your leads. So there you have it. That's how the financial modeling helps you.
If
Gotta get the applause together. Thank you.
the crowd is still waking up, we had to nudge them a little bit there. Andre, I love that answer. Anything finance is of interest. The main thing I love about this answer, and that the takeaway I think is for small businesses, is it's that forward planning and time planning, right? What we see is, of course, everybody wants that instant result from their marketing and sales. They want that immediate result. And financial planning gives you that long-term lens, that long-range lens that you're looking through to understand, okay, this is how long I need to invest in advertising. This is how long I need to invest in agency services to see a return, and a return of what quantum, etc., all the other good things. So financial planning will always play such a pivotal role in small businesses in helping them to shift that focus from, survival to short term to long term to, a
Correct.
year's targets that you're making and you're setting, making, hitting, etc. So great points. I think we all need to dive into it a bit more to understand what that financial outlook looks like, so that we're planning for a year and not for a month.
And this is the type of strategic conversation that business owners need to have with their CFOs, right? This is the type of conversation that you have to have with your chief financial officer to make this long-term plan. And if you're connecting it to what we spoke about this morning, my hot topic was about being viral. A lot of times we're so busy looking for the trend to jump on, or just looking for that immediate post to post for this month just to get by, that we're not taking the time to do this type of financial forecasting that takes us into next year. I don't know if we're afraid to do it, or I don't know if we feel like we don't have the capacity. I meet a lot of business owners who literally shy away from these type of conversations because they use the phrase, I just can't handle the numbers. But the numbers is what tells you how things are going in the business, and the numbers is what you need to know. So the financial modeling is critical for you to understand, how do you take a step 6 months from now and putting those things in place, as opposed to just fighting to survive in this month and just trying to deal with the activity of this month. What we're talking about is, how do I take what happened this month and make it last 6 months, or make it last a year?
It's a really interesting game, because when you start understanding the numbers, you actually have the numbers in your head all the time. So the numbers are always like, I'm very at the pulse of what is happening, how's it moving, and where do we need to adjust and pivot, right? And then what does that look like? Because there may come a time where you'd be like, hey, we need to focus. What are the activities I'm focused on to get to this place? And then how do it's the thing that you kind of rinse and repeat. These are the activities that I do to drive revenue. So then, okay, what time am I focusing in on that in the month? What do I need to do? So you're right, so you can have that consistent flow. And once you wrap your mind around the numbers, it connects to the goals. It makes everything so much easier. Is it daunting? Absolutely. There's still moments when it's daunting, right? When you're like, okay, sometimes it's so overwhelming, but it helps you to break down those goals. It helps you to really get to those steps and fine tune things. So, gotta love the numbers. Gotta love the numbers. It tells the story.
Numbers don't lie. I always say numbers don't lie. They tell the story.
That's a fact. All right. Well, moving on to our next question. This is a great question. What are some common pitfalls in the B2B lead nurturing, and how can I avoid them? Talk to the problem, talk to the person. Do not send generic random emails about yourself. Understand where they are in the journey as well too. Sometimes as business owners, we want to send information that is all about me, 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 when it should be customer focused, customer driven. Really make it about them. Once they're in your world, you have to reposition, and it's no longer about what you do and making it about their problem and how you can help them save time, save money, something along those lines, right? You want to give them the right content, the things that make them go, huh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? You want to educate, you want to continue to talk to them and break it down into bite-sized, digestible bits. They're not the expert at what you do, right? So the acronyms, all the things really don't matter. That's why we talk about going beyond the likes to that place of money in the bank, getting to the business goals, because people understand that conversation, right? That's what they want to hear about. So you want to make sure that the content is relevant and you're giving them solution-based content. Give them things for free. I say all the time, right? Life hacks, things that turn their, that make them think, oh, I did this and it worked, because then they remain in your world. Talk to them consistently, right? Make sure that you're not talking to them 10 years from now. Talk to them consistently and determine what your consistency is. Is it going to be, once a month? Is it going to be twice a month? You need to determine that and then just be consistent. They're not looking to hear from you every day, especially if you are a professional service, right? What are you going to say to them every day? So you want to find that consistency where they're open and they're taking in the information. And I talk about analytics all the time, right? Analytics is so critical. You want to track everything. You want to track the time they're spending on the web page. You want to track what they're doing. You want to track where do they go to, what video do they watch? And, tools like HubSpot, CRMs help us to do these things at a glance, right? You get to see everything and understand a little bit more. Those analytics tell the story and it tells you what you need to change, pivot, or optimize. So those are some of the mistakes that people make in that process. You really just want to hone into the customer, lean into that, and focus on what is working. So that's your answer there.
I love that answer. I want to add one to it. I want to add one answer. A common pitfall is not setting up your flags for prospects, right? So what are your signal lights, your flags? What denotes where they are in their journey? What denotes where they are in your sales pipeline? So you can't nurture if you're not identifying where they're at, right? You can't continue to nurture if you haven't identified movement. As Tamara was saying, looking at the analytics, have you identified their movement from awareness of a problem, awareness of your brand, awareness of your solution, consideration, decision, etc.? How are you setting up to understand, what denotes and what interaction with your content with you denotes a different stage, and then what do you need to do next to get them to that next stage of the sales pipeline or their customer journey?
I think one place that people struggle with, because I know I'm struggling with it, is the segmentation. Because this is where, oh my, you could go down a rabbit hole with segmentation. So I just want to caution persons that it can be daunting. This is probably why we had this as the first point, right? This when you're sending generic things, because you really have to get specific to your business and the target audience that you were targeting from when we spoke about in our last show. that target audience could then be segmented so many different ways. And depending on the space that you're in, you could have so many different things that that allows you to segment. So be very careful that there's lack of segmentation, but then there's maybe over segmentation where we turn around now and the person falls into so many different buckets that they end up probably getting 5 different emails because they fell in 5 different buckets. So the segmentation, I think, is a critical problem. I know for sure that's something that I, from a practical standpoint, I've been trying to clean up on my end. And I could see the challenge of the rabbit hole. I have found myself having to take a step back and say, okay, no, that's a bit ridiculous now. Let's keep them at this level and then, walk them through. So just wanted to share with people that, guys, we know it's not as easy as we're probably saying it here, but it is a very vital step.
So I'm gonna make it a little bit easy, right? We want to look at the main pain points. So we want to look at your top 3 pain points, and those are really the opportunities for segmentation. Are there other interests for this potential customer along the way? Sure. So we want to look, you're kind of getting into email a little bit here because we want to maybe look at tagging. So this is where a tool like a quiz comes in really, really well, right? You get to sign up and you get to say, okay, these are my 3 main pain points. So people fall into these pain points. Let me send them a quiz, or as they enter my world, after they get to a certain point, let them take the quiz. They take the quiz, and now you understand those buckets because you've already defined these 3 buckets, and that is the segmentation there. The quiz may say, hey, they're also interested in this. Now that's a tag, so they can get an email about that. But managing that segmentation through an early part of taking the target audience to that ideal customer. So these are my top 3 pain points. For us, for instance, is you have a strong online presence, do you have a weak online presence, or do you have a medium online presence? We understand that if you fall into any one of those categories, we can solve for something. If you have a weak online presence, do we need to look at your analytics? Are you set up the right way, the right infrastructure? If you have a medium online presence, maybe you're getting some type of traction, but you don't understand why. And if you have a strong online presence, maybe it's time for you to start testing and take the next step. So that's how we're able to truly talk to our audience and move them along the way. So the segmentation has to come back to the problems that you are solving for and bucketing people into those high level groups and not getting in the weeds of anything. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I loved how you broke it down there. Start with the big picture of the pain points and then, okay, excellent advice.
And the only segments that matter are segments that have the potential to turn into customers. And I think we get distracted by, so what do we do with the other segment, right? And we're like, oh, I've still got to entertain this other segment. No, you don't. They're not interested, right? They've come into your store, they've looked around really nonchalantly, like, and they've walked out, right? Allow them to leave. I think what we forget is that people can re-enter your world multiple times, right? If you are, going to a mall, you don't need to go into every store every time you go into the mall. But every time you go to the mall, there's another opportunity to walk into my store. That's what it is. So concern yourself with segments that have the potential to turn into customers and allow segments that are not to leave.
There we go. That's a whole other show.
Well, we know what one of the shows is going to be this season, right?
That's a fact, right? We're in the background. Time check. All right. So we're moving on to the last question. How can I use feedback and data from previous B2B lead nurturing efforts to continually improve future campaigns? This is a great question. You really want to be in a space where you're looking at what worked and you're fine tuning. You're looking at the data points, understanding very early on in a campaign, you should know these are the KPIs that tell me the answers to the questions, right? These are the KPIs that mean the most to me. It's my click-through rate. It's my time on site. It's the things that move people through that process. So you want to look at those metrics, right? You want to look at those success indicators. Did I convert enough people? Did I convert anyone? You want to look at those benchmarking pieces. You want to look at the content that is driving the engagement, right? What is driving the engagement? That high-performing content. You want to look at those things. What does the lead do? Are they taking the steps that you defined for them in the process, or are they going rogue? And what does rogue mean? defining that, because people are wild cards and we may define a process and then people do other things. Trust and believe. We went through that last week. We were like, what do they do? Do what I want you to do. They never do what you want them to do, but you learn a lot and you'll start understanding that customer behavior because you start asking questions, right? And taking the feedback. The feedback helps you to redefine the process because now you're getting feedback from that customer, that potential customer who's saying, hey, I expected to see this. I thought about this. Where is this? Where is that? Now you can start tweaking your process to adapt to what the customer is looking for, right? Especially the person who is continually going down the funnel. Every step that they take further down says that they are potentially the right customer for you. So those are also the triggers in some segmentation pieces, right? And you want to make sure that you're looking at data driven adjustments. You're not looking at, I think and I feel, right? I converted 2% of the people that came through my funnel last time. Now I want to look at converting 3%. What is that adjustment that I need to make? What needs to happen here? Why am I not converting? What's happening? What is the benchmark for my industry? So understanding some of those things really help you to define. And you want to look at these, my Pilates teacher likes to say, tiny movements, big improvements, right? You want to look at those little movements in the funnel because sometimes we get to a place. I wanted to do it last week, Caribbean Sun Feast again. I wanted to go back and fix the ad because I was just like, I just don't know what's happening. Maybe I need to go fix the ad. Everything we saw, people were coming on the page. They were spending the right amount of time. They're spending 5 minutes, but I wanted to solve for something that I could control because I couldn't control this other thing that I just didn't understand. And as I started to let go of that, I started to look at the right things that we should solve for, right? What are the things we should solve for? What is the data point telling us? So don't go back to that gut and that feeling. Look at those numbers. And again, sometimes you have all the people coming into your funnel and you're converting a small percentage of them. And it's about understanding, how do I convert some more of these folks? So analyzing those campaigns, looking at the data is some of the most important things you can do. Taking that feedback to adapt those campaigns and improve them.
Absolutely. And the data, you can get really granular. You can learn because you're looking at, your prospects, your leads activity. You're literally looking at their activity. So for example, a question that we have with email marketing all the time is how many emails to send and what time do I send them? So when I look back on a campaign and I look at new subscribers, or I look at, versus when I sent an email out, I look at those open times. Was it late at night? Was it in the evening? Was it just after lunch? There's some little details there that you can glean more about your leads and how to nurture them effectively just by looking at that data. So that lead behavior becomes very clear, very apparent. It's laid out in numbers to tell you, what are they looking at? What are they doing? Who's taking action to move to the next step? And normally, once somebody moves to the next step, it means that it's probably likely that they have a more pressing pain point and that they will more likely turn into go from lead to prospect to opportunity to customer, right? And go all the way through. So looking at our data, always important. We especially love looking at data, whether it drives us crazy or not. It tells us everything, right? Because yes, we're looking at numbers. We understand a challenge for small business is translation of those numbers. What do they mean? So I ran a campaign, I got back a bunch of data, and I'm trying to understand what does that really mean? Did that mean that most people accessed my campaign while they were on the go from their phone? Did it mean that most people accessed my campaign because they were at their desk in their office early in the morning before work started, et cetera, right? So analytics always gives you a lot of information on how to optimize. And as Tamara said, like little changes, so in the mechanical world, we talk about, making a quarter turn with a screw. You don't turn it all the way around at once. You just make a small adjustment and then you test again, right? And this continuous process of test, improve, is what gets you to those higher conversion rates at the end of the day.
That is a fact. right. So it is time to do our 30-second wrap up. So Andrea, I'm going to kick it over to you to wrap us up with our lead nurturing series today.
So my wrap up is simply to remember the importance of this part in the sales journey. We spoke about the last time, getting the leads in the door, but you have to remember that this part is where there's the movement towards conversion. There's the movement towards money in the bank. So don't overlook how important this part is in the overall process. Continue nurturing your customers as they come through the sales funnel, as Tamara mentioned earlier. Don't just stop at the top, because I think that's what we frequently do. We just try to get and get and get in the funnel, and sometimes the funnel is overflowing because you haven't. It's like it just bottleneck there, and they're not coming down the funnel because you haven't taken the time to nurture them. So I think this as a small business, this is where I think the follow the yellow brick road to money in the bank, I think, is where I'd like to tell people. So follow these strategies, implement them the best way you can in your business, of course, with the little nuances that we spoke about as it pertains to your business, but definitely don't leave money on the table by not nurturing the leads as they come in.
My turn. So yeah, definitely lead nurturing, important stage, right? Don't get caught in that, lead generation trap of just, collecting leads and, as Andre just mentioned, entertaining them for an indefinite period of time, right? So make sure that you're moving leads through, and make sure that you understand from your business perspective, what does it mean to turn a lead into a prospect? What does it mean? What action do they take that indicates that they've gone from a prospect to an opportunity, and etc.? And then what actions are you taking to make sure that you are increasing that close rate? So lead nurturing, always important. You want to make sure that you're understanding what are the segments that work for your business, that are worth investing in, that are worth continuing to dive deeper into and learn more about. So great talk today. You all guys just leverage it. There's a lot. We'll come back with a segmentation show for sure after this one. For sure, we'll have just a whole show on segmentation and give you some easy strategies on how to segment those leads and how to nurture them as they go through your pipeline.
I mean, you guys summed it up, right? Lead nurturing is just as important as your lead generation strategy, right? So you really want to focus in on it and if you're spending time on that lead gen strategy, you want to spend just as much time on that lead nurturing strategy. So that's how I'm going to sum it up. This was a great show. So thank you so much for your feedback. Michelle, we missed you, and hopefully we caught everything that you would have said, giving it that little something extra. All right. So just to let you guys know, here's how you can connect with us. And what I really want you to do is I want you to tell a business executive about this show. I want you to tell a CEO about this show. Tell a CFO about this show. Because what we're doing here is we're breaking down those digital marketing strategies to get you to that place of actually money in the bank, right? How do you move forward with a strategy that works for you? We look at the analytics, we look at the numbers. The show is CFO approved, okay? We have a CFO on the show talking digital marketing. We talk about sales, we talk about the relationship between sales and marketing, and we talk about operations. So we're a true small business coming together to really talk about how we partner, collaborate in order to move digital forward and get you to those leads, get you to that place of money in the bank. So connect with us on YouTube, connect with us on LinkedIn, connect with us everywhere podcasts are found, and share this information out because it is golden information. We want you to go back and say that digital helped you increase your revenue by 10%, by 20% year over year. That's the type of conversation we want you to have about digital and digital marketing. I'm Tamara Molui, always excited to be here with you at your business in digital. We had a good time, guys. We had a good time. We missed Michelle, but we had a good time. All right. So look forward to seeing you guys again with us. Have a great day. Take it easy. Bye.